Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video.
People of Reddit, what was your "Yep, she or he is the one" moment?
Experience 1. I always enjoyed taking a trip by myself while in a relationship. The last trip alone, I found myself thinking this would be more fun if she was here for the first time. I knew then that she was the one. Experience 2. She had a brain injury days before my birthday. Woke up from a coma and the first thing she did was ask nurses/doctors about me and my birthday even though they had no idea who I was. I've never had someone care so much about me to be the first thing they think of when waking up after brain surgery. Experience 3. We'd been dating less than a year when my job transferred me across the country. I went to talk to her, figuring it was going to be a breakup, but instead, she nonchalantly asked,
"When do we leave?"
Experience 4. We were cooking in the kitchen. It just happened. There are no words I know to describe the clarity and joy and peace and comfort that I felt, maybe just home. It was a moment I won't forget. Experience 5. She admitted the reason we were having so many problems with our scanner at work, despite the fact we rarely even used it, is because she was working up the courage to ask me out and thought that bending over in front of my desk on a regular basis would encourage me to do it instead. Which it would have done, had I not been deliberately averting my eyes every time she did so she couldn't catch me staring and think I was a pervert. Experience 6. The first moment was our second date. I was financially in a deficit when we met. I work in an industry that relies on your passion before you make any kind of decent money. It was January, and it's cold where we live. It was -28°C on our first date, a few days before, with wind chill. It wasn't much better on the second date. I did not have a proper winter coat. I would layer, and usually, with a little Canadian gumption, it was enough to get through the winters. He showed up with an older coat of his, really warm, lined, suitable up to -40. And was like,
"I hate to see you so cold."
Now, there have been countless moments when I knew he was the one, but the care for my person so early on really hit a note in my soul. We moved in together after 6 months, have been together 10 years, and married for 6. We have 2 little girls. Experience 7. We weren't having sex yet, but we were sleeping in the same bed. I was cuddled up with my head on his shirtless chest. Woke up in a huge pool of my own drool. Mortified, I grabbed a towel that was thankfully right by the bed and started to try to sneakily dab it up. He'll never know. I finally look up at his face, to check that he hasn't stirred, and he is very awake, and watching me clean up my drool with an amused look on his face. Wasn't grossed out. Didn't mock me. Slept with me the next night, didn't judge me. Knew he was a keeper. Experience 8. 2 answers, really. Either the time we had our worst fight ever and my every instinct was to walk away forever, but I realized I just couldn't do it because it would be the stupidest thing I'd ever done in my life, so goddamn it apparently, I was going to stay, and we were going to talk this crap out if it took all night. It didn't. Quite. Or, if you want the sweeter version, the first time she was laughing so hard she couldn't breathe and instinctively curled into me. There's 1,000 moments, really. Making her smile is my win condition for life. Experience 9. We were long distancing at the time, visiting each other whenever we could. When we knew we were going to be long-term, we met each other's kids. One time, the kids and I were playing Phase 10, and my husband video called me. My oldest said,
Oh, is that partner's name?
my child snatched my phone away and had a 40-minute conversation with my now husband, showing husband cards, asking opinions on which card he should play, etc. Finally, my kid says,
Okay, here's mom again. Bye.
when I got the phone back, my husband was a little teary-eyed. The fact that he engaged with my child like that and that it meant that much to him. I know there were other times, but I think this was where I really just knew. We also used to stay on the phone when I went to bed. One night, he thought I was asleep already, and he whispered,
I am going to marry you.
edited to fix typos. Experience 10. For my, now, wife, it was her smile. She looked at me on our first few dates and her smile was utterly hypnotic. Like, Medusa-level hypnotic. I thought, this is the most beautiful thing I have ever set eyes on in my life, and like 4 days into going out together I said,
I think I'm falling in love with you.
she absolutely pooped herself. That was 1993, 30 years ago. Her smile is still as beautiful now as it was then. Experience 11. There were 2 moments. On our second date, he busted out his ukulele and played a couple of Beatles songs to impress the lady, me. But instead of anything classic or romantic, he chose Honey Pie and Rocky Raccoon. Not only totally weird song choices, but also 2 of my absolute favorites. Really, I knew right then, but a second date is a precarious time to decide to marry someone. The super real 100% absolute moment was my 30th birthday. First, we were together. He took me up to our favorite hiking trail, and less than 10 minutes in, it just started pouring rain. I said I didn't mind pushing through some rain, but it would be okay if he'd rather go back. He said we should go the first mile to get to the waterfall. Partway up this trail, there's a wonderful waterfall spot with rocks that practically form a bench under/behind it. When we get to the waterfall, rain's still pouring, but now we're protected under the waterfall. He magically produces a bottle of my favorite champagne, 2 plastic dollar store flutes, and a fancy cupcake with a candle. We took a bunch of silly, absolutely drowned rat-soaked selfies together. Champagne under the waterfall in the rain. Most romantic thing ever, and the most thoughtful birthday I'd ever had. We used those silly plastic champagne flutes again on our wedding day. Experience 12. A week or so into dating, we were sitting on my living room floor, discussing our food likes and dislikes. At some point, one of us brought up green bell peppers and we both said, God, I hate green bell peppers, at the same time. For both of us, we have pinpointed that stupid little moment as the exact second that both knew. We have been married 25 years this past February. Experience 13. We were fostering a stray cat who had had kittens. The kittens all had homes lined up with people we knew. The poor mother cat just had health problem after health problem popped up. We were at the vet with her so many times. She wasn't in pain, but with the vet bills and the behavior stuff that comes with health issues like these, I knew she was unadoptable and would need significant care. I told her, my then girlfriend, that I had to keep the mother cat, even though we both had special needs animals already and adding more would delay us moving in together. She was like, yeah, of course. I love her. Like she'd never even considered any other options. She was so kind and loving to that cat, who randomly attacked us and peed on the floor throughout her first year and a half with us. She was as all in as I was every single day. Our passions and values are the same, and my partner is still the most compassionate person I know. We still have the kitty too, who we adore. Edit, my cat is all over our rescue's public site, so I won't be posting her.
Do you like listening to these stories? Do you want to hear more of them? Then click that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. And check the description for links to more videos and interesting stories.
Experience 14. Not exactly a moment, but within a few weeks of us getting together, I found out my dad was terminally ill. He died about 4 months later. 32 days after my dad passed, my sister and her children died in a house fire. I was a broken, angry wreck of a human, and I was not in any condition to return the love he gave me. But he stayed. I told him he could go, and I wouldn't blame him for leaving this cluster hell behind. But he stood by me when so many other people would have run. The man gave me something to live for, and he held me close so I could heal. There's no one else like him in the world. Experience 15. My, now, wife always wanted to have kids in her early 30s. I come from an abusive childhood, and being responsible for a human being was something that always scared me because by the time we met, I already had adopted some bad habits from my father. At the age of 28, when we were together for 2 years, I asked her to take some time and think about if she wanted to keep our relationship going even if I was not willing to become a father. After 2 weeks and lots of talking, she told me that she wanted to be with me no matter if we were parents or not. At that moment, I decided to marry her. Now we are both 34, married, and have a beautiful daughter of 5 years. I got rid of my alcohol and cocaine addiction and turned my health completely around. I'm in the best shape ever physically and mentally. She always stood by my side and helped me through the war against my demons. She and our daughter are the best things in my life. Experience 16. We started dating in early November 2022. Started casually, let's get coffee and see where it goes, yada yada yada. Welp, he and I ended up getting along great, and unlike others, he didn't ghost me or anything, so that was refreshing, haha. So, he ended up spending a lot of time at my place and we were sleeping in the same bed. One morning after a few months, he and I woke up together and we were just lying there on our phones half asleep, and then I turned around in my half asleep stupor, looked at him, and said, "Oh, you're my husband." And then I fell asleep straight afterwards. I don't even remember saying that. But that was the moment, haha. Later on, he told me he knew from the moment he saw me, but he didn't want to scare me away, so he kept his mouth shut until I came around to my own realization. He and I moved in together 3 months ago, and we recently got engaged too. Experience 17. The first marriage was a disaster. I swear I'd never get married again. Summertime, and I had the opportunity to stay with my now wife for about 4 days. We didn't do anything super exciting. We hung out at her place and listened to old records. She made some snacks, we just laid on the floor and daydreamed out loud about any and everything. That week completely changed my outlook on life. I knew I couldn't spend another minute awake from her. Married 15 years now, and I'm more in love with her every day. Experience 18. There was a multitude of moments, but this one is one of the most pivotal for me. We were maybe 2 to 3 months into dating. He made a joke during dinner that unknowingly triggered some trauma I hadn't disclosed to him yet. It was an absolutely non-offensive joke, but it triggered a very specific memory for me that caused me to have a panic attack. I completely shut down and told him I had to leave. I couldn't explain to him what was going on in my mind, but I needed to get away from the situation. He walked me to my car, and then I knew he followed me home in his own car from a distance to make sure I got home safely because I was almost unresponsive to him. He opened up the conversation gently the next time we saw each other and asked me if I had seen a therapist lately. He told me he didn't know my specific circumstances, but he knew what it was like to be overwhelmed by thoughts. Over the next year, I went to therapy and worked through my issues, and he supported me all the way. He always made sure, and still does, but I know being with him is a safe space, even if I cannot express my feelings all the time. Experience 19. I was someone who through my teens and early 20s never wanted to get married. It wasn't a dream of mine as a kid, it was never something I thought about with whoever I was dating at the time. I just never ever wanted that. I started to crush on a guy I worked with, and we worked together a lot. We'd usually hang out after work having a drink or just talking while standing at our cars. One night he leaned in and kissed me, and I swear the entire world stopped while my stomach dropped, and my heart sped up. I've never experienced that before, even with all of the guys I had dated through the years. I got home later that night and called my mom to tell her about it, and I said, I swear I'm going to marry him. We're 2 weeks away from our 6-year anniversary. Experience 20. Would it be strange to say it was only this past week? Last Monday, June 19th, was our 1-year anniversary. We've been dating through a difficult final year at school, or 6th form, however now we were finally off on a break to enjoy things. To celebrate 1 year, we wanted to do something kind of low-key, so we went on a walk to a place she knew, which was a man-made lake. She discovered it in lockdown, I never knew it existed. So here we were, just sort of chilling around before the both of us decided to sit on the branch of an overhanging tree, above a small lake. We sat here for some time, and I went to find my phone to text my dad something, however I noticed the zip on my pocket was broken and I looked down to see my phone half submerged in the water. I try to climb down to get it, but I'm heavy and not exactly the nimblest. After nearly suffering a nasty fall from the tree, I get up and start to panic about how to get my phone. At this point, she turns to me and says, "Don't worry," and immediately starts climbing the branch, takes her shoes off, and walks halfway across the river to grab my phone. Even though she had a big fear of water, she didn't hesitate for a moment as she grabbed it for me. At this point, she's the one has been the only thing going on in my mind since.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.